and Ronnie Ames. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome the 8-horse hitches. Mr. Chip Lawrence on the line for the Hunting Creek entry. They make the trip from North Carolina. You see what a handful of lines our drivers have, giving them control over each of these hitches. Each team in the hitch has a role to play, and you will see our drivers guiding these individual teams into the turns and the corner at different times, all with those lines he has thread back through his fingers. Here they come, ladies and gentlemen, our second division. We are welcoming CCP Percherons, making the trip from Longmont, Colorado. The Pittman Percherons making their way in next, your hometown team from Claremont, Minnesota. One more to grace the arena to make this first division full. From Illinois, we are going to be welcoming the Gray Thunder Percherons. Josh Wilcox on the lines. This is your division. The gates closed. Again, if you're on the rail, arms and hands back. Drivers on the rail at the trot. All moving at the trot. Mr. Chip Lawrence going to lead our hitches across at the diagonal. Hunting Creek making that diagonal cut. Two hitches still making the reverse. Our drivers do not break stride as they make that diagonal cut across the arena. A lot of vocal commands with those horses that are so far away from our driver. Get you all moving so we can safely get everybody moving. We're going to get everybody spaced out, moving, and then we'll change our gates. But let's get everybody spaced out on the rail. And now we're going to come down to the walk, please. Now we're going to come down to the walk. What a group of drivers we have in this section. Drivers at the trot, once again, drivers at the trot, please. And we will be lining up this lap with the Hunting Creek entry. Chip will be starting our lineup. What a powerful class, ladies and gentlemen. The first division of our 8-horse hitches. Make them feel welcome. Even with these multiple hitches, our judge is going to go through the same routine, reviewing each individual hitch and going back to the days of horsepower, when these multiple hitches were the horsepower to move the loads around the city and to make the deliveries. They were also the hitches that were plowing and working in the field. These multiple hitches, they all had to have a reverse gear to back that wagon up to the docks to load or unload all of the cargo in the city streets. Well, that is a tradition we carry forward in our show arena. We ask our drivers to back these hitches. Always looking for consistency. In this class, looking for 8 horses that work together to back that wagon and then pull back in the lineup. Our first entry for our judge is the entry of Hunting Creek Farms, making the trip from North Carolina. Mr. Chip Lawrence piloting our 8-horse hitch. Next in our lineup is the entry of CCP, those Percherons joining us from Colorado. Mr. Wilbur Helmuth on the lines. This is their first World Percheron Congress, and we're excited to have them with us again, making the trip from Colorado. Our next entry for our judges' review is our 8-horse hitch that is proud to be in their home state of Minnesota. It is the Pittman Percherons from Claremont. Mark doing the driving. Our final entry representing the Gray Percherons, that is the Gray Thunder Percherons, making the trip from Illinois. Mr. Josh Wilcox doing the driving. What a fabulous job by all of our contenders in this first division. Again, this is our first of 4 heats. If you have your cameras, this is a Kodak moment as we celebrate the Percherons and our World Percheron Congress right here in the Warner Coliseum. It will be full line to line, end to end with our 8-horse hitches. We're going to open the gates and we're going to start with Gray Thunder, and Josh is going to be leaving the arena first. We're going to send these hitches out. Gray Thunder making their way out. The Pittman Percherons making their way out next. You're awful quiet for a Minnesota 8-horse hitch. CCP Percherons joining us from Longmont, Colorado with Wilbur Helmuth. And Mr. Chip Lawrence piloting the entry for the Hunting Creek Farms. This class again is dedicated in memory of Dick and Ronnie Ames. The Ames love and respect for the Percheron was perpetuated through George's son Chester, who carried on his family's passion for farming and this marvelous horse. When Chester was 17, his father moved the family to Minnesota. 4 years later, Chester met and married Ruby Bell Reisinger and started his own farm in Farmington, Minnesota. Chester and Ruby Ames raised 8 children on that farm, and as tradition would stand, passed their farming heritage on to their children. The Ames brothers went on to work together, forming Ames Construction in 1962. The oldest son, Dick, a lifelong horseman, developed a profound respect for the horses that dates back to an era when the draft horses were essential to the operation of the big farms in the Midwest. The youngest son, Ronnie, also had a passion for Arabian horses and was always a great cheerleader of the Ames Percherons. Ladies and gentlemen, heat number 2 making their way in. The entry of Jackson Fork Ranch with Mr. Ross Hansberger. We are saluting your hometown team from Burnsville, Minnesota, Ames Construction, and from Jordan, Minnesota, the Ames Perch Runs. Mr. Travis Shaw doing the driving. Two more in this second section. From Canada, we are welcoming Wilson Farms. That is Mr. Bud Miller on the lines. All right, we are waiting for one more entry. If you have a bird's eye view of these drivers, take a look at their hands as they pass by you and see how they have those lines threaded through their fingers. Ladies and gentlemen, our final contender in this division, Strawberry Lane Perch Runs, joining us from Didsbury, Alberta, Canada. This is your heat. On the rail at the trot. All moving at the trot. We are in our second heat of our 8-horse hitches. Jackson Fork will be starting our reverse at the gate side. When we get down to it, we're going to have Ross starting that diagonal cut. And we're at the walk now. At the walk, drivers, all walk, please. Moving at the trot again. All space out on the rail at the trot, please. All trot. Jackson Fork Ranch will start our lineup. When you get down to Merv, we will be lining up. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for the second heat, the beautiful turnout of our 8-horse hitches. Our first entry to work for the judge is the entry of Jackson Fork Ranch, joining us from Little Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We have Ross and Nicole Hansberger, the managers and the driver today. Our second entry for our judge to review will be the entry of the Ames Percherons, the equine ambassadors for Ames Construction. Just down the road in Jordan, Minnesota, Mr. Travis Shaw will be the driver of our next hitch. Wilson Farms, joining us from Ontario, Canada, owned by the Wilson family. Mr. Bud Miller, the driver for Wilson Farms, will be next for our inspection. Following this heat, we still have 7 entries in our 8-horse hitch. This, as I said, will be a full arena of 8-horse hitches. Remember, we're still looking for those that are cheering for that fan of the night, and also any young girls that would like to be a future Percheron queen. We're watching to see if those young girls are cheering loud and proud to be a future Percheron queen. And we are now reviewing the entry of Strawberry Lane Percherons, owned by Greg Lurvy and family. Mr. Brian Coleman doing the driving. They're joining us from Didsbury, Alberta. We have our 2 states in this division, Wyoming and Minnesota represented, and 2 provinces, Ontario and Alberta. All right, our judge, Mr. Mark Berry, making some notes on his card. What a card he will be turning in when we place our 8-horse hitch class. All right, we are going to be opening the gates. We are going to send these drivers out to the right, starting with the very talented Mr. Brian Coleman for the Strawberry Lane Percherons. Representing the Lurvy family, Mr. Bud Miller making his way out for the Wilson Farms, joining us from Ontario. From Jordan, Minnesota, the Ames Percherons. They're from Minnesota. You can do better than that, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to welcome Ross Hansberger doing the driving for the Jackson Fork Ranch, representing Wyoming. Again, this class is dedicated in memory of Dick and Ronnie Ames. We are so thankful that their love of the equine industry brought together the Percherons, and the love that they shared in promoting the Percherons. This class dedicated in their memory. The Ames family honored to be the sponsors of our 2026 World Percheron Congress 8-horse hitch in loving memory of Dick and Ronnie Ames. All right, we have 3 entries that will be coming in this final division. 3 entries in this final division. Right, I hear some hand clapping. We got it going on now. Heat number 3 entering the arena. This is the entry of Yoder Gravel, Yoder Sand and Gravel. Joining us from Montana, Mr. Freeman Yoder doing the driving. Clark Family Orchards from Colorado making their way in, Scott doing the driving. We are up to 4 division. We are going to have 4 in this division as well. 4 entries. From Indiana, we are welcoming Dutch Country Organics. Mark Hostetler doing the driving. We're going to welcome in another Minnesota hitch, ladies and gentlemen. This is the entry of the Schreiber brothers, Schreiber Percherons. Plainview, Minnesota. On the rail at the trot. 4 entries on the rail at the trot. The Yoder Gravel entry. Yoder Sand and Gravel will start our reverse with Mr. Freeman Yoder doing the driving. We're going to bring you down to the walk, drivers. We are going to bring you down to the walk. Again, if you have a chance to be up close and personal, you can see these drivers. Look at their hands. Look at the control they have over each horse with those lines that are fed back through their fingers, giving them individual control over each horse. We're going to put you back at the trot, drivers. Back at the trot, please. Yoder, Sand, and Gravel will start our lineup when you get down to your ring steward. Freeman will be starting our lineup. Our drivers making their way into the lineup. It was fancy and it was fast-paced. Ladies and gentlemen, your third division to our 8-horse hitches. Make them feel welcome. I tell you, a lot of us aren't scared of much, but these 8 horses in here, that just makes the goosebumps on your arm. I tell you what, that brings all senses to life. You see the beautiful hitches. You feel the thunder of the hoofs pounding into the ground. You smell that horsepower, and you smell the harness and the leather, and you hear that harness. This is a class that is second to none, and we're so honored to have such talented drivers and exhibitors here in the arena. Yoder, Sand, and Gravel making the trip from Montana to be a part of our World Percheron Congress. Jake and his family campaigning these Percherons all across the country. That is his brother, Mr. Freeman Yoder, doing the driving. Next, we are going to be welcoming the entry of the Clark Family Orchard. They make the trip from Colorado to be a part of our show. Dennis and Stacy Clark and their crew do a great job. Scott doing the driving of our 8-horse hitch. Remember, we're still looking for candidates for that fan of the night. I don't see too many people making a lot of noise yet. Our judge now making his way past the entry of Dutch Country Organics. Joining us from Middlebury, Indiana, Mr. Mark Hostetler doing the driving. And we're going to turn our attention to that Hitch making their home state proud right here from Minnesota. It is the Schreiber Percherons, the Schreiber brothers. Mr. Brad Schreiber doing the driving. This is our third division. We have one more. That last group will have 3 entries in it. Great job by all of our exhibitors in this division. These 4 entries doing a great job. Our judge, Mr. Mark Berry, making some notes on his card. We talk about the trust between our drivers and these horses. We know with this much horsepower, these horses could leave town anytime they wanted, but they have, again, that trust with their driver. We're going to open the gates, and starting with Schreibers, we're going to send them out to their right. We'll be sending them out to their right. Mr. Brad Schreiber making that sharp turn and maneuvering these horses out the gate. We thank our crew working out there getting these horses safely in and out of the arena. It is quite a traffic congestion going on out there. Mark Hostetler doing the driving for the Dutch Country Organics, making the trip from Indiana. The Clark Family Orchard making their way out next. Joining us from Colorado, Scott and Dennis on the seat. And from Stevensville, Montana, we're welcoming the Yoder Sand and Gravel entry with Mr. Freeman Yoder exhibiting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more section that will be gracing the arena. One more group. This group is going to have 3 entries in it. 3 entries. Are you enjoying the show so far, ladies and gentlemen? What a day it has been. We are crowning our champions in the gelding and the stallions. We've had carts, teams, and now our 8-horse hitch. Representing the province of British Columbia, we are welcoming the ZD Pickering Farms entry. Mr. Tim Sparrow doing the driving. We're welcoming Mr. Jason Hansberger in the Red Oak Farms entry, representing Quebec, Canada. And we're going to welcome the Percherons. One more entry for this fourth division. This group again will have 3 entries. From Plainview, Minnesota, we are welcoming the Barch Percherons with Matt Steffens. On the rail at the trot, please. All moving at the trot. And we are going to be reversing with Tim and the Pickering entry. As you make your way around, we will be reversing. And we're going to come down to the walk, please. Down to the walk. And trot on, please. Drivers back at the trot. And Tim will start our lineup down at the end. When you get down to Merv, we will be lining up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our fourth and final division to our 8-horse hitches into the arena. Again, our judge, Mr. Mark Berry, joining us from East Bethany, New York, reviewing each entry. He has watched these drivers as they promote these horses on the rail, studying the action, the movement, how well they work together. That is key in judging these multiple hitches. All teams must work together. He is making his way now past the entry of ZD Pickering. They represent the province of British Columbia. That is Mr. Tim Sparrow doing the driving. The center arena is the entry of Red Oak Farms, representing Quebec, Canada, with Mr. Jason Hansberger driving. Our final entry to move for our judge is the entry of the Percherons. Ryan Barshin family joining us from Plainview, Minnesota, with Matt Steffen doing the driving. All drivers putting these horses through their paces, backing in the lineup, standing quietly for our judges' review. Our judge, Mr. Mark Berry, again making some notes on his card. We'll be placing this class in its entirety. All right, we are going to open the gates and we are going to start dismissing these entries. Out to your right, starting with Matt Steffen and the Percherons. Red Oak Farms making their way out next with Mr. Jason Hansberger. Again, a little traffic congestion going on in the back. We're sorting out all of our 8-horse hitches. Thankfully, Mother Nature is giving us some good weather where we can get everybody moving outside, get them turned around, ready to come back in for our final judging. Our judge is going to see 4 entries coming back in for the drive-off. Again, we're going to see 4 entries coming in. How many of you are enjoying your first World Perch Run Congress? How many of you have been to 2 or more over the years? All right. How many of you have been to 5 or more? Well, it is quite a treat to come here in St. Paul, Minnesota, where we were 40 years ago to celebrate the Perch Run. Ladies and gentlemen, your drive-off now coming in. We're welcoming Mr. Wilbur Helmuth with the CCP Perch Runs, making the trip from Colorado. This is where we get to help the judge cheer on. We'll help our judge with our opinion. Also making our drive-off, we are going to welcome from Ontario, Canada, the Wilson Farms with Mr. Bud Miller. Are you ready to cheer on our next drive-off contender? It is Jackson Fork Ranch from Little Jackson Hole, Wyoming. One more, and we're going to continue to go west. All the way from Montana, let's welcome the Yoder Sand and Gravel with Mr. Freeman Yoder. On the rail at the trot, this is your drive-off. On the rail at the trot. Starting with CCP and Wilbur, we will be reversing. Ladies and gentlemen, every one of these hitches is in it to win it today. What a drive-off we're having, and we're going to be reversing now with the CCP entry. This is their final lap. We're going to line up with the CCP entry, lining up with Wilbur. Drivers coming in very close and tight, if you would. We're going to bring all entries in. We need you coming in close and tight, please. Coming in as close as possible with our 8s. Ladies and gentlemen, what a powerful drive off. The horsepower second to none. Let's make them feel welcome. As I said, every one of them was in it to win it. Every one of these hitches in it to win it. And the judge now has his work ahead of him. As he's marking the card, we are going to be opening the gates and we're going to start sending in those hitches that we're going to honor. All entries in this class going to be honored for our 8-horse hitches. We do have show programs. They are free. If you'd like one, they're up here at the announcer's booth. We have a lot of show programs. Get your program and stay ahead of what we're doing in the program. You can watch all of our sponsors in there. You can see our classes, our advertisers. We have a lot of them up here. You just come and get one. They are free to take home a souvenir. Following our 8-horse hitch, we are going to work the arena. We're also going to bring in our raffle golf cart. We're having our junior team of horses, which will be horses that are 2 or 3 years of age. And then we will have our mare 4-horse hitch. So we have quite a show left for you this evening. Again, the junior team and the mare 4 following our 8-horse hitch. Our hitches making their way in to get in the lineup. You watch that, Mr. Brad Schreiber. He's going to thread the needle down there. He is going to put these horses in a tight spot. He's going to fill the gap. Nobody better than Mr. Brad Schreiber. Mr. Mark Pittman making his way around. We're going to try to get you in straight and tight if we can. Straight and tight as you come around for the lineup. Mr. Josh Wilcox making his way in with the Gray Thunder Percherons. Drivers, again, we need you straight and tight, please. Into the lineup straight and tight. Mr. Chip Lawrence for the Hunting Creek Farms. Mr. Brian Coleman for the Strawberry Lane Percherons. We're welcome back Dutch Country Organics making their way in. The Clark Family Orchard making their way in. Scott and Dennis on the seat. Again, drivers coming in tight against those hitches, please. I think it's time you get your cameras out, ladies and gentlemen. What a sight in the Lee and Rose Warner Coliseum as we are going to bring all entries back in for our 8-horse hitch. Mr. Matt Steffen on the lines for the Barch Percherons. Red Oak Farms with Mr. Jason Hansberger making their way in. I promise we are going to be wall to wall, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be wall to wall. The entry of the Pickering family, ZD Pickering Farms, making their way in with Mr. Tim Sparrow. All right, we're going to come on down. We're going to bring you on down, Matt, down here to the lineup. It's going to be tight, but we're going to try our best to get all of these hitches in the lineup, and it will be your time to pull your cameras out. This is a moment that will go down in history as we welcome all of our 8-horse hitches into the arena. Tim making his way all the way down. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we welcome 15 8-horse hitches into the arena. Let's stand and salute these exhibitors, these drivers, these crews. What a job, what a beautiful turnout as we honor the memory of Dick and Ronnie Ames. All right, could we see Mark up at the desk, please? Could we see Mark up here at the desk? All right, we had one hitch that did not come back in. We are going to place your top 14 entries in this class. Drivers who go out to your left to make your way around, we will accommodate you at the gate. We will get Tim to pull forward. In 14th position today, it is going to be entry number 1485. That is the Gray Thunder Percherons, joining us from Mokina, Illinois, with Josh Wilcox. Congratulations, the Gray Thunder Percherons. Our ribbons will be starting at 10th place. Just so you know, our ribbons starting at 10th. In 13th position, it is 2429. That is the Barsh Percherons from Plainview, Minnesota, with Matt Steffen doing the driving. In 12th position today, number 1377, that is the entry of the Pittman Percherons. Joining us from Claremont, Minnesota, Mark Pittman on the lines. In 11th position today, number 1871, that is the Clark Family Orchard. Joining us from Colorado, Scott Banga doing the driving, Dennis on the seat with him. Decked out in the purple, the 11th place to Clark Family Orchards. In 10th place today, number 2849, that is Dutch Country Organics, making the trip from Middlebury, Indiana, with Mark Hostetler. Our ribbons will start with the Dutch Country Organics entry. We are welcoming our queens, Mackenzie and Jada Lynn, making their way for the presentation of this class. In 9th place today, it is entry number 1828. That is the entry of Hunting Creek Farms. Joining us from Hamptonville, North Carolina, with Mr. Chip Lawrence. In 8th place today, number 1375, that is the entry of Red Oak Farms. Mr. Jason Hansberger on the lines. Seventh place going to stay right here in Minnesota. Plainview, Minnesota, with the Schreiber Percherons, Mr. Brad Schreiber. sixth place award today is going to go to entry number 2698. That is the entry of Strawberry Lane Percherons, the equine ambassadors for the scleroderma awareness. Congratulations to Mr. Brian Coleman, his daughter Taylor on the seat, doing the driving for Greg Lurvy and family. Again, Strawberry Lane Percherons, the equine ambassadors for scleroderma awareness. In fifth place, entry number 1506. That is the entry of ZD Pickering Family Farm from Prince George, British Columbia. Mr. Tim Sparrow doing the driving. In fourth place today, entry number 2693. That is one of our youngest drivers in the arena, Mr. Wilbur Helmuth, doing the driving for the CCP Percherons, making the trip from Longmont, Colorado. Congratulations. You're going to watch this driver turn that 8-horse hitch on a dime down there on the far end. He's taking advantage of that fifth wheel wagon as he turns sharp, pulling that box right around with him. Great job, Mr. Wilbur Helmuth. In third place today, the honors going to number 2404, going back to Stevensville, Montana, with the Yoder Sand and Gravel. Congratulations to Jake Yoder and family, with Brother Freeman piloting this hitch. Our reserve and our champion in the arena at this time, ladies and gentlemen. What a class it was. We would be so proud to award either one of these the championship. But today, your reserve champion is entry number 1252, Wilson Farms, joining us from Ontario, Canada. Mr. Bud Miller doing the driving. Bud is no stranger to the lines of an 8-horse hitch. He is the current Clydesdale 8-horse hitch world champion. And today he takes home the reserve honors at the World Percheron Congress. Congratulations. And ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our sponsors who dedicate this 8-horse hitch in memory of Dick and Ronnie Ames, the award, your world championship, going to number 1771, Jackson Fork Ranch from Little Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with Mr. Ross Hansberger, his wife Nicole, and a great crew that makes this happen. We are having our queens, Miss Mackenzie and Jada Lynn, making the presentation. We do have a sash for that lead horse to proudly wear. Look at that. Our photographer, Mr. Brian Yoder, running over to help get that sash pinned. What a feat, what a class. We had a total of 15 entries in this class, and this is your world champion, our queens, with the award. Nicole at the front, Ross on the lines, and Brian capturing this moment in history as we crown Jackson Fork Ranch your world champion 8-horse hitch in memory of Dick and Ronnie Ames. All right, our queens, they are going to step up on that wagon. They're going to take a victory pass that they will not forget. Jada Lynn finding her way on the seat. Miss Mackenzie making her way up. These girls have done a great job throughout our performances, handing out the awards. This is their time to shine, along with your world champion, 8-horse hitch, ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Fork Ranch with Mr. Ross Hansberger. You're awful quiet, Minnesota. Make some noise for your world champion. They are making the turn, making their way down. This is the Blue Ribbon Pass, the World Champion Pass for Jackson Fork Ranch. Congratulations to Mr. Ross Hansberger.